Good evening, everybody. For those of you that I haven't seen for so many years, it's such a joy to see your faces. And thank you for having me. I think it would be important for me to let you know how I come to be standing here this moment. My wife, Sunday afternoon, said to me, "Did you see that email from Gabriel about Twist?" "No." "What happened? He's ill again?" She said, "Read the email." I read the email, and for a temporary moment, my heart stopped, because I realized that my dear friend of many, many years had gone. I put the phone down, and I immediately called Dolly. We had a great conversation, didn't we? And then I called my daughter, Colleen, who lives in Ajax, and said, "Did you read about your godfather?" She said, "No." And immediately she called Dolly. Within the hour, I had flights booked to be here. And I should have been here yesterday for the viewing. But as things went, everything started tumbling. I had some challenges at work. Got to the airport, got held up in security for about an hour. Got down to the tarmac, and I'm watching my aircraft being pushed away. The flight that should have taken me here so I could have arrived at Toronto Airport 5:30, just in time for the viewing. Got here 10:30 last night. Finally got into my hotel at 1:30 this morning. We were at the service this morning, and I want to commend you for a tremendous eulogy. Well done, well spoken, well said. It was such a joy to be looking around in the church and recognizing familiar faces. Because as time moves on and we move along, we take on different tracks and we get into different areas of the world. But one thing that never failed through the years was my friendship with Twist. And I was showing people a photograph, and those of you who get close to me, I'll show it to you. A photograph which we took exactly 50 years ago at our signature camp training in Montserrat, which we called Camp Lucy. And I was having a lot of fun asking people, "Can you pick him out? Can you pick me out?" And that is why I'm here today, to say goodbye to my old dear friend of years of unfaltering, unwavering, dedicated friendship. Dolly, my heart goes out to you. Heather sends her love. Colleen regrets that after the service she had to run back to Ajax. So she sends her love to you, the family, the children, grandkids who I haven't seen for so many years. You're going to have to come up and say to me who you are, because time dims the memory. But to all of you, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you. That is what life is all about. And had this event been taking place in South Africa, in Egypt, in London, I would have been there as well.
Thank you, Johnson. All right, is there anyone who wants to, oh, sorry, is that you, Mr. Christian?
Okay.
You've never met a mic that you have said no to, so.
So you can go.
Good afternoon, everyone. And to Mistress Bertrand and Trevor and Terry and Gavin and our dear friend Hattie and all the family members and all the beautiful Dominicans and friends of Dominica. Give yourselves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And I say this because the fact that this room is full to capacity is emblematic of the life that Twistleton St. Rose Bertrand lived. My name is Gabriel Christian. I'm the president of the East Coast chapter, Tuskegee Airmen, the African American fighter pilots for World War II. And I came in my tunic because I camped under Major Bertrand as a cadet at the Dominica Grammar School back in the 1970s. It's an honor and privilege that we had Major Earle Johnson. Let's give Major Earle Johnson a round of applause for being here. So both of our majors are here. Major Earle Johnson was the commandant of the cadets when I was a cadet at the grammar school. And Twistleton was the second in command, later became commanding officer. But our relationship in a way goes back before my birth. Because my father, our father, Wendell Mackenzie Christian, was a member of C Company, Windward Islands Battalion, South Caribbean Forces, British Army during World War II. And Bertrand would tell me the story that during the war at Portsmouth, his niece, Kathy Christian Del Sol, and her handsome husband was here. They would be at the store of R.B.D. Douglas. Is there any children in this room of Robert B. Douglas?
Yes.
Robert B. Douglas. There are 3 radios in Portsmouth. One owned by R.B.D. Douglas, one owned by a guy called Leonard Green, and another one owned by a guy called Bob Garraway. And they would sit down on the step. R.B.D. Douglas was very enterprising. My father said, if you came into the parlor, it was 1 penny. If you stayed on the step, you could listen for free. So they would listen to the onslaught in the early days of the war by the Germans in the Blitzkrieg, destroying the British Expeditionary Force. And my father said, when the British Expeditionary Force was ejected from France, Mr. Dewhurst, who was an Englishman in Portsmouth, he jumped on his motorcycle, on his bicycle, and rode away. And this afternoon, I met the daughter of that very gentleman, Corin Dewhurst. Let's give Corin Dewhurst a round of applause for being here. So it's everything coming together. And at the funeral this morning, I met Dr. Armand. Our father says Dr. Armand was in that parlor with R.B.D. Douglas. And he's saying to Dewhurst, the reason Dewhurst ran away, the Germans are gods, my boys. The British, they can't make it. I don't think the British are going to make it. And so they heard those stories. Bertrand, Wendell Christian, Clifford Severin, and a gentleman called Glenworth Emanuel. Glenworth Emanuel, inspired by the soaring rhetoric of Winston Spencer Churchill, who said about the Battle of Britain, never in the history of human conflict has so much been owed by so many to so few. And so inspired by love of country, Glenworth Emanuel joined the Royal Navy, Wendell Mackenzie Christian joined the British Army, Clifford Severin joined the Royal Air Force, and Twistleton St. Rose Bertrand joined the British Army. And you know, Mr. Bertrand was a man of humor. He said to me, and I think my father records it, that they were having a class because some of the soldiers that were not as sharp, they had a class, and they asked a particular soldier called Beaupierre, what does BBC mean? And he said, yes, sir, I know. He says, you, what does BBC mean? He says, bread, butter, and cheese. So, you know, in 2002, Judge Andre, my dear friend and author, co-author of many projects, he got sworn in to become a judge here in Brampton on Ontario Drive. I met the sergeant who brought us in. And we retired to his house afterwards for some refreshment. And we started speaking to Twist. And it occurred to us that no one had taken the time to record the story of the soldiers. No one had taken the time to record the fact that no nation or group of nations during World War II contributed more men to the Royal Air Force than the British West Indies, 7,000. Yeah. And if you go to your phones right now, there's a website that our law firm maintains. It's called www.caribbeanaircrew-worldwar2.com. And it has all the names of all those who served. Several from our school served. And then Evan and I said, but listen, this is my father-in-law. Your dad was in the army. Why don't we do a book? And so we did in 2008 for King and Country, the service and sacrifice of the Dominican soldier. And for the first time, the story of the Dominicans who served was revealed. So I gave the book to the head of the diplomatic corps in Washington, the St. Ambassador, Dr. Edsel Edmonds, a former cadet, myself, much older. And he said, Christian, this is not just about the Dominican soldier, this is about the West Indian soldier. So we did a second book in 2009, for King and Country, the service and sacrifice of the British West Indian military. And undercover was a resplendent, handsome, dashing, and dapper Bertrand. Let's give Bertrand a round of applause. And so if you go on your phones, you can go to Amazon, you can download the story, and you will be inspired by it. Bertrand, though, has moved on. His children are here, his beautiful wife is there, and all his friends and family are here. Let us continue to be inspired, as the Vice President said, by the principle of integrity, of service to the cause of liberty that he stood for. May God bless him. I see his brother here and his wonderful, beautiful wife, Fitzroy Bertrand there. Puri has known me for a long time. But I was a cadet under Major Bertrand and under Major Johnson, and I know he gave a lot of time to cadets here in Canada. So he served in Dominica, he served in Canada, and may we all continue to serve. God bless you all. And I know it's a tough time, but still, he would want us to have a Merry Christmas. And this is why. I'm going to say this one last thing. When we talked with him at his place, he said, okay guys, enough of the talking. God is great, God is good. Now it's time to eat the food.
Boy, that's going to be a hard act to follow.